Hi, I'm Rob, pastor of Calvary Chapel, Turlock. Steve Lawson, a well-known and respected pastor, teacher, author, and ministry leader, has been relieved of his position for an inappropriate relationship with a younger woman. According to Phil Johnson, the executive director of Grace to You, the relationship had gone on for roughly 5 years. Steve Lawson confessed his part to the elder board of Trinity Bible Church in Dallas, where he was the senior pastor, after the young woman's father threatened to go public with the information. Steve was especially influential in the Reformed and Calvinistic sphere of evangelicalism. A regular on the conference circuit, he traveled around the world preaching and speaking on the doctrines of grace, often called the 5 points of Calvinism. He shared the stage on many occasions with the heavyweights John MacArthur and R.C. Sproul. One of his theological hallmarks was the absolute sovereignty of God, defined in particular by God's unrestricted control of all things. Mankind, therefore, in this theology, has no free choice in salvation, or really no free choice in anything. God has determined all things by his sovereign decree from eternity past. As counterintuitive as it may seem, Steve Lawson repeated this maxim on numerous occasions, that God controls every minute aspect of existence. John Piper, another 5-point Calvinist, illumines this doctrine further with a more granular definition, saying that God even causes morally detestable things. For instance, Piper states on his website, as incredible and as unacceptable as it currently may seem, God even brought about the Nazis' brutality at Birkenau and Auschwitz, as well as the terrible killings of Dennis Rader and the sexual abuse of a young child. You heard that correctly. The 5-point Calvinist assures us that God instigates all things, even the rape of children. Now, Steve Lawson's fall into immorality is not something to be treated sarcastically or dismissed as another one bites the dust. It is a tragedy for all of us, as it gives the world fodder to mock Christians and the cause of Christ. And there are many lessons here about guarding ourselves from temptation. Satan is truly an adversary, a roaring lion seeking to devour. But here's the natural theological question for the Reformed Calvinist side of Christianity. Was Steve Lawson's sin sovereignly decreed and ordained by God from before the foundations of the world, so that in effect Steve really had no choice? Was this immoral relationship with a younger woman predetermined by God, as Steve so often insisted doctrinally? Because I'm finding it painfully ironic that his fellow Calvinists have suddenly become coy and gone suspiciously quiet on this issue. But from their own theological premise, this mess was ultimately caused by God, and Steve was just along for the ride. But by the Spirit and wisdom of God inhabiting us, we know that's rubbish. We are all responsible for our moral actions, and that's exactly why God holds us to account. We have been created in the image of God as moral beings who have the capacity to make moral or immoral choices. That's why the Bible says in James 1:13, "Let no one say when he is tempted, I am tempted by God. For God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he himself tempt anyone." My desire is not to add one more layer of condemnation upon Steve Lawson. But I do want us to see the complete and irrational inconsistency of any theology that says sin has been sovereignly ordained by God. No, God has decreed that we should die to sin and live for Christ. And he has given us his grace and his Spirit so that we may live in obedience to him. That's the bottom line. Thanks for watching, and have a blessed day.